Hi everyone and welcome back to Maths and Physics from Mr. Simons. Yeah, video 1 of 9. I'm looking at identities and I'm starting with the one that seems to be the most problematic, finding products. And this is where we give you a binomial and you have to square. Alright. Now there are three basic identity problems we test, either finding products, adding fractions or factorization. Right, now prove the following. Now take note there's a pattern to solving this problem, right? There they gave me cos b plus sin b all squared. So because they give me two terms, we're going to test can you multiply out, and remember that there's a middle term. Right, and we must end up with sin 2b plus 1. So my left hand side, cos beta plus sin beta all squared. So if I say cos beta times cos beta, cos squared beta. The middle term, very important, don't forget it. Forget the middle term, you lose all the marks. So for the middle term, I multiply the two items in the bracket. Cos beta times sin beta times the 2 gives me 2 sin beta cos beta. Then sin beta times sin beta becomes sin squared beta. We assume you remember from what you've done in grade 11, square identity. Cos squared beta plus sin squared beta must equal the value 1. So therefore cos squared plus sin squared becomes 1. But I also need to know 2 sin beta cos beta can be reduced to sin 2 beta. It's a double angle. So therefore that becomes 1 plus sin 2 beta. You can see that equals my right hand side. Therefore I've proven that identity. Alright, the key here, don't forget the middle term. Most of the time when you multiply out, you're going to end up with cos squared plus sin squared, which then becomes 1. And from there, we then just simplify whether we have compound, double angle, etc. Right? Now let's look at number 2. So number 2, again, in brackets, I have two terms all squared. So key is there must be a middle term. And there we end up with 1 plus sine alpha over 1 minus sine alpha. So when I have two terms, normally that comes from some form of factorization. Right, so my left hand side is tan alpha plus 1 over cos alpha squared. I'm first going to solve the bracket. Right, so I can make tan alpha equal to sine alpha over cos alpha. And then to add the two fractions, you see there, because I have 1 over cos alpha, my denominators are the same. Therefore, I can add the numerators. So that becomes sine alpha plus 1 divided by cos alpha. Now, I say sine alpha plus 1 all squared. And cos alpha times cos alpha becomes cos squared alpha. Now, you see there, I don't have cos in the answer there. So therefore, I'm going to write cos squared alpha using square identity as 1 minus sine squared alpha. Right? There to make sure we don't forget, I expand, that is sine alpha plus 1 times sine alpha plus 1. 1 minus sine squared is difference of two squares, meaning 1 times 1 and sine times sine. So if I factorize here, I have 1 times 1. Negative times positive, sine alpha times sine alpha. Those there, because it's multiplication and multiplication at the bottom, I can cancel 1 plus sine alpha plus 1 plus sine alpha. And I'm left with 1 plus sine alpha divided by 1 minus sine alpha, which then equals my right hand side. Alright, so there we done with the sum. Alright, look at problem number 3. Now number 3 again. See again, I've given you two terms in a bracket and I've squared. So again, I'm going to test whether you remember there's a middle term. Answer we must get must be 1 plus sine 4x. So sine 2x times sine 2x becomes sine squared sine squared 2x. Sine 2x times cos 2x times 2 gives me my middle term. So I multiply the 2 in the bracket times 2. It gives me 2 sine 2x cos 2x. And cos x times cos cos 2x times cos 2x gives me cos squared 2x. Right, now again, sine squared plus cos squared. They have grouped them together. That must become 1. That is 2 sine 2x cos 2x. So that is expanded double angle for sine. If I reduce it, becomes sine 2 times 2x. Right, so 2 times 2x then gives me 4x. Right, and that then becomes 1 plus sine 4x, which then equals my right hand side. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Continue practicing. As I said, as you go through these 9 different videos I'm going to do, you should find all these problems in your past papers. Refer back to the video and solve them. The procedure is the same. The keyword this year, don't forget your middle term. God bless. Bye.